information and land distribution, and said that the United States, it is very dangerous. And he made an interview with Arsanjani, and a copy of the interview that, of course, obviously, he sent to the CIA, he gave it to me. Actually, the original one he gave to me that he had at his disposal. Because the reason was that, you know, first time that I met him, I asked him, Don, I was working on land reform, it was in 1985 maybe. What is the role of the United States in Iranian land? He said, what role? No role. Very rude. You know, the first, after, you know, a minute of introduction, I met him. I said, oh, this is CIA guy telling lie that loud. And I didn't stay, you know, to try to continue our conversation. And then because of other occasion, which was my research on Iranian studies in the United States, and because he was one of the pioneers during the Reza Shah period working with Pope, so I met him. And then when I talked with him about something else, he remembered that event and went and brought and gave me that document, which was very, very significant document about, and I have to write about it hopefully shortly. But anyhow, let's go continue the discussion. Now, the new readings of the event, this is what I have already told you. You know, there are different things. One thing is that they accept that, like Zahedi accept that a coup was happened. But he says that the coup was made by his father. And actually, the role of Ardeshir was much, much more important than his father. Actually, it was Ardeshir who was involved and active in the whole operation and making of the coup, not Zahedi himself, because he was in hiding. But they say that that's the. But another reading recently presented by Bayandor is that it is true that the first one was a coup, and the first one was made basically by Iranians and with the support of the British and American intelligence services, but because two events occurred, as I mean, our young audience, they don't know that. You know, first there was a coup that its main agent, Roosevelt called it counter coup. So that was on 16th of, it occurred on 16th of August. And then on 19th of August, with what happened that I'm going to tell you, the uprising of the ruffians from the southern part of Tehran, which was very well orchestrated and designed, then that is what they call it national uprising. So what we are going to do is that to see what is the case and what is what. So you can see, you know, some of these titles here. So the design for that day. Now, for one thing, you know, Ted Hutchins that I told you I interviewed gave me one piece of very important, I mean many pieces of important information. One of these was that when the first coup on 16th failed, and we actually informed the director of covert operation of the CIA and the headquarters in Cyprus about it, then immediately a cable came, because this guy, Ted Hutchins, used to do everything. You know, he was the main person there to get the two cables, you know, this could be actually give it to, you know, the person that are involved. There was a cable to Ted Roosevelt that immediately you and Goodwin, the former CIA head, was still in Tehran, and General Zahedi and Ardeshir Zahedi, four guys, immediately go to the airport. It was a military airport, and there is a DC-10 waiting for them because they had that ready to take off and leave Tehran to the Cyprus. And then they argue that at that point it is true. They didn't have any other scenario. If this failed, the other scenario. But in my view and in my understanding, because most of the people who were important and significant in the second one, in 19th, they were familiar and influential in the southern part of Tehran about the mob leaders in the southern part of Tehran. So in various parts, you know, mainly in 6, 7 sections of Tehran, there were mob leaders, godfathers. So it was, they were British agents.